Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Thursday's Public Policy Talks, brought to you by Advancing Black Businesses. My name is Markee Tate, president of Advancing Black Businesses and chair of the board of the Atlanta Black Chambers. Welcome, chamber members, to another Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. Going to have a quick conversation this morning and prepare your comments about the national election, the changes in the national election, whether you comment in the chat or you actually raise your hand to speak. We are almost underway, almost underway. All right, there's no plans to go past 9 o'clock, no plans to, but let's see how it works out, depending on your conversation. All right, we got a few people here this morning. Thank you for joining us. We got a lot going on today. The time is 8:31. We're almost underway. 8:31. Abigail, good morning. Rick Ross, Paula Watts, Stacy.
Good morning.
Stacy Porter, good morning. Good morning, Abigail. Melba Clayton. Venus, what's going on? Good seeing you this morning. Janelle Perry. Everybody is in here. It is 8:32, y'all. We got to jump right into it. Just having a conversation this morning again. Prepare your comments for today. What you came in with, what you saw this past week, what is going on in public policy. You know, a lot of times we're pulled toward the national level, and we are today. I know politics are definitely local. They start right here in your backyard, in your front yard. But my name is Markee Tate, president of Advancing Black Businesses, where we bring public policies to the forefront. Public policy talks. This is National Black Business Month, everybody. Don't know if y'all knew that, but this is definitely National Black Business Month. We have a lot going on with the Atlanta Black Chambers. I am leaving shortly, going to an event called the 2024 Black Business Summit. Raquel, if you don't mind, put that in the chat. And thank you so much, Raquel, for working with me and making things happen. I really appreciate your support, Raquel. But the 2024 Black Business Summit is going on, just already started, 8 a.m. to 2:30 at the perimeter area. That link Raquel, I don't know if I gave you that link. Did I give you that link?
No, you didn't, but I'm searching for it now. I got you.
Okay. All right. We'll have that. Sorry about that. We'll have that in the chat shortly. Also, the Atlanta Black Business Institute on the 15th. No, we do have that Eventbrite registration. I will be speaking at that event on the 15th. I'll be making, from what I understand, opening remarks talking about the state of Black business and the intersection of Black business and public policy. So that's my conversation. So you know I'm going to talk about public policy and the intersection of how Black businesses actually work within public policy. You heard me talk a lot about the data, and we need data-driven solutions when it comes to public policy. Also, our DC fly-in, that'll go in the chat also. That is coming up. It's almost upon us, September the 12th through the 15th. We still have, I think, just a few spots left. It's $7.99 to go on the trip with us. Or some of you may even be up there in DC. We definitely want you to join us if you are in DC during the CBC. CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus Conference, starts on September the 11th through the 15th. It's going to be a big week, You probably know why, because of this presidential election and who is actually the presumptive, or really the nominee. The Vice President Harris has attended the Phoenix Awards, I want to say, for the last 2 years, along with the president. So looking to have a great time in DC during our fly-in September 12th through the 15th. Also on September 12th, the Georgia Chamber of Commerce will be in with their DC fly-in. Also, we'll probably be joining them for a reception or something, but we will definitely be joining the Georgia Chamber. Yesterday, Michael Hill, our founder of the Atlanta Black Chambers, and I were in Athens at the Congressional Luncheon, where the governor spoke. We had a guest speaker, who talked about politics and made some predictions on the election. Had a great time there. Shane Blackwell gave the invocation. Shane Blackwell of the Northeast Georgia Black Chamber of Commerce. Great job, Shane Blackwell. The Georgia Legislative Black Caucus attended the event last Saturday, the luncheon. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was on the mic and brought it to us, talking a lot about international politics. Great conversation. And she also announced that she was appointed the co-chair of the Harris Waltz campaign. And that's Tim Waltz, the VP nominee. I know everyone has heard about it. Please look up his background. Current governor of Minnesota. A lot going on at the top of the ticket. Raquel, we're going to move into, let's see, looking at my notes. I have down the racial wealth gap. You heard me talk about the racial wealth gap. You heard me talk about the racial wealth gap is widening. It grew in the white community. From the survey of consumer finances by 44%, their wealth into the trillions. Our wealth is into the trillions. The lower part of the trillions, we have 4% of the wealth in America. We grew by 12%. So that tells you that the racial wealth gap is definitely widening. Just to set up, my quick talking points, because I definitely want to hear from you, whether you put comments in the chat or you actually raise your hand, questions. Hey, let's have a conversation. Due to what we saw from the racial wealth gap, what we see from the data, the Black income, collectively, income is at the lower end of the spectrum. We have income is low, of course, with wages. We have when a collective conversation, we're not talking about individuals. We have some successful Black people in America. But when we talk about politics, we have to come together as a group. That's how we actually vote. We vote as a group. Most of us have voted around that 90+% for the Democratic Party, everyone. So that's what we're going to just have a very, very brief conversation in and around that. Because at the state levels, I have some comments, I have some notes in there about the state levels. Those state levels, and I was going to talk about the state level of contracting. And before I get into the conversation, capability statements. If you have your capability statements, please email them to us at info@advancingblackbiz.org. Info, that'll be in the chat also. Please send us your capability statements. But I'm going to share my screen very quickly. I actually have the fly-in information I just talked about. But let me go over. Let's see if I can get something. Where is my screen? Move that down. Go here. Identity politics. I want to have just a quick conversation with you this morning about a few topics. One of them is identity politics. Identity politics is a tendency for people of a particular religion, ethnic group, social background, etc., to form exclusive political alliances, moving away from traditional broad-based party politics. Identity politics. You probably heard a lot about identity politics, and what I'm getting to is how we vote, what we vote for, and what we stand for as a Black business community. Trying to stay in my lane, our lane, trying to stay in the lanes of advancing Black businesses, but sometimes we have to talk about the community in general. But identity politics. So what does that mean? Identity politics, there is a noun. I just read the meaning of identity politics, but just to pull out that ethnic group, that racial component of identity politics. And when we look at identity politics, how does that intersect in the Black community? I think when you look at the announcement of the VP's endorsement from the current president, President Biden, to what went on after that, we were turning flips, turning cartwheels in excitement for the vice president. And I've talked a little bit about that over the last couple of weeks. but I definitely understand the excitements about politics, about a particular person actually getting into the race. But I want to, as I talked a little bit about last week, is we have to turn that identity politics into traditional politics. And that is because of the racial wealth gap is here. It is live and well. We don't have a very good experience as a Black community, stepping over a little bit, the Black community, when it comes to the political process, when it comes to slavery, when it comes to Jim Crow, when it comes to the Civil Rights Act, the Immigration Act, the Housing Act. All of those acts were all about public policy, really reshaping public policy for the Black community. So when we talk about identity politics, we're getting away from the actual policy and the policy agenda for that particular candidate that we actually support. Another thing, hopefully this will flip over. Let's press that OK. Going to the next comment I want to make, quid pro quo. Hard to say that sometimes. Quid pro quo. What is that? That's something for something. That is, quid pro quo describes an agreement between two or more parties in which there is a reciprocal exchange of goods and services. Now, the phrase is Latin for, again, something for something. When we talk about identity politics, we talk about quid pro quo. They don't really intersect. I mean, I'm trying to come around the corner, y'all, because I want to hear from you all. They don't really intersect. When you vote in a block, when that's one of the strongest ways, and I may have said that in a prior conversation, that's one of the strongest ways that you actually vote. No other community votes in a block like the Black community. We need to harness that actual power. That power is powerful. I'll say, and I say it's powerful because when you vote in a block and vote for one particular party or really one particular candidate, it has to be about the policy agendas that you support. You heard me last week talk about voting for a negative agenda versus voting for a positive agenda. So we have a perfect storm going on, Black America, Black business community, Atlanta Black Chambers. We have what we're participating in, identity politics. We're participating in, what's the word I just used? Negative agenda voting versus a positive agenda. Our focus has been centered around Project 2025, and we don't want that. We know that's going to be definitely bad for the community. I brought that up to you last week, where we pulled two articles, one article from the Black Enterprise magazine, one article from Forbes magazine that talked about Project 2025. But what we have to, especially as Black business owners, we have to start paying attention to the policy of the candidate that we support. If you go to the KamalaHarris.com website, there's not a policy agenda there yet. I said this last week. I'm waiting to see that policy agenda because as of right now, we're going off of what the current administration is doing, and that's what our nominee. They announced Kamala Harris as the nominee. I said some time ago that on this show, we're going to be paying more attention to the Democratic side and the Democratic policies because of how you have traditionally voted and what you are supporting right now. And I'm just saying, all in all, it is time to move away from the identity politics, move away from voting for a negative agenda. If you've been on with me for some time, I talked about, again, that actual data in our community where the racial wealth gap is widening, where our income, when you look at collectively in the Black community versus any other community, including the white community, our income is at the lowest level, average level income. When you are a group of people that are not doing well economically, you cannot vote based on identity politics. You cannot vote for a negative agenda. You have to push your candidate. And I'm just talking about that national level. And I definitely understand politics are local. We have to push. And I actually said this at First Friday. Thank you. Enjoyed seeing a lot of you at First Friday. Thank you, Melba Clayton, for your support of First Friday. You did a wonderful job. And I know Melvin is out here. Melvin is always doing a wonderful job. But identity politics, voting for a negative agenda does not mix well for our community. We have to push for, and talked about a Black agenda. I showed 4 Black agendas over the last couple of weeks. One Black agenda from the Congressional Black Caucus, one, the Black print, the U.S. Black Chambers Black print, which will have the updated version of that on September the 12th, I want to say, at the Public Policy Breakfast in D.C. by the U.S. Black Chambers. That's a Black agenda. That's a true Black business agenda. I talked about the Black Economic Alliances agenda that actually is kind of intersects with the Congressional Black Caucus agenda. I've talked about the American Descendants of Slavery Advocacy Foundation, which is a very robust, based on the data-driven solution, Black agenda that includes reparations. There's actually a reparations conversation going on right here in Fulton County. I think what is today is what's today's date? I know that's on the 10th, Raquel.
Yes, today's the 8th. No, it's Saturday.
That'll be Saturday. That's what's throwing me off. I'm thinking it was during the week. That is on the 10th. They have an official conversation centered around reparations. The racial wealth gap is getting wider. I said the word reparation. That actually needs to be what's at the very top that we're talking about during this election cycle. And no one is hardly talking about that. But Fulton County is talking about it. They have a commission on reparations. So what I'm getting to is, all in all, in conclusion, when I turn it over to just have a conversation, whether you're in the chat or you want to speak up, raise your hand, we have to move away from identity politics and voting for a negative agenda and turning that into a Black agenda. I actually said that when I was on stage for about 30 seconds at First Friday. We have to demand for a Black agenda, y'all. That's what the data actually is saying, that when you are a group of people, of Black business owners that average about 60,000 in revenue, when the white community averages over, or almost 600,000, that's a gap of well over $500,000 revenue gap. And that should not be that way. As Black business owners, when you succeed as a Black business owner, like you are succeeding, members of the Atlanta Black Chambers that are exceeding at the highest level, that have surpassed that 60,000 in revenue, are in that 6-figure, really that 7-figure revenue level. You have been through a lot, and you are probably one of the best entrepreneurs out there. I'm talking about when you compare us to other communities. You are the best because of what you had to go through to get there. For one is, you could have been pushed out of corporate America and forced to start a business. You may have walked out of corporate America to start your business based on your expertise. But as a Black business, as a Black woman, as a Black man, being successful in America, you have to do some extra steps. And what I'm saying is, it should not be that way. And what can correct all of that is public policy. Public policy created the situation that we're in. On one of the original shows, I showed that presentation about public policy and the intersection of Blacks in public policy from a historical standpoint. It was not good. Was not good. They tried to wipe us off the map with public policy. Reconstruction was very rough. That was one of the roughest times in the Black community when we were after Emancipation Proclamation, that Reconstruction period. So, hey, let's have a conversation, y'all. Identity politics, negative agenda voting. We have to have a positive agenda. Having a positive agenda is voting for the public policies, or really pushing your candidate. It's emailing the Harris-Walz campaign. It's actually emailing our national organizations, emailing them by basically just saying, emailing Al Sharpton of NAN, emailing Mark Morial of the National Urban League, emailing Derek Johnson of the NAACP, demanding for a Black agenda. That's what we should be doing right now, is demanding for you produce a Black agenda similar to or just like the U.S. Black Chambers business Black agenda. You look at the Ados Advocacy Foundation, look at their Black agenda, send that to Kamala Harris. We have to move forward, Atlanta Black Chamber members, towards a Black agenda. We have to move away from the identity politics. I understand we have some excitement around the VP. That is great, but that is not going to help us by just having excitement around who the VP is based on her identity. And that's not going to do it, everyone. We have to push for a Black agenda, period. I show 4 Black agendas. What's some solutions? What can you do right now? We can email the Biden-Harris campaign, attach one of those Black agendas to the email. Go to those websites. I actually put in the chat a few weeks ago. That's the Congressional Black Caucus. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Is the Congressional Black Caucus talking about a Black agenda to the Biden, excuse me, I got to get used to this, the Harris-Walz campaign? Are they talking about a Black agenda? I don't know. I don't hear it on the airwaves. I don't hear the pundits on CNN, MSNBC talking about a Black agenda. Why is that? What those people that represent us on CNN and MSNBC, Van Jones, I've never heard him talk about a Black agenda. Van Jones is from my hometown area, that Jackson, Tennessee area. Van Jones went to UT Martin. I've never heard him talk about a Black agenda. Where are we, everybody? We got a hand raised. Kimberly King, what's going on?
Good morning, Brother Tate. How are you today?
Doing great.
Question for you. When you talk about the Black agendas, I've often wondered if we would be better off and this is my words, letting people stay in their own lanes. What you talk about used to be the purview of the Urban League. Do you work to have a combined agenda with, because the NAACP has a different mission. To me, as a member of the NAACP, I think they have a different mission. Do you do better by saying, okay, Black chambers, US, and you guys work with the urban leagues or Black MBA Association to come up with a combined agenda and let everybody kind of stay in their lanes, as you kind of alluded to? And you mentioned CBC. Did you attend the CBC event that they had here in Atlanta about a month ago? They talked about some of these same issues.
You talking about are you talking about at the convention center?
No, it was at the Loudermilk Center.
No, I did not.
It was a free event sponsored by the CBC Foundation. Maybe that's something we could all get plugged into. They host events around the country. So I think before we say what they're not doing, we have a responsibility to be plugged into what they are doing. So they hosted a free, pretty much all-day event in Atlanta, and they talked about a number of public policy issues, including Black wealth.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. I did point out the CBC. I think that we elect those officials to go to DC to represent us, Kimberly.
Right.
And from what I see, and I'm going to start pushing y'all, what I see, they're not representing us like they should be. And I'm talking about the CBC. They're not representing us like they should be. They're pushing.
I won't argue with you about that. I'm always wanting to hold somebody accountable. And you said you went to the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus luncheon with my soror Jasmine Crockett. I went to the breakfast. So I mean, those events. I mean, are we supporting those events so we get in front of those folks? And so I think it's a two-way street to say, hey, everybody in the Georgia legislature is on the ballot, every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same. So to me, that's an opportunity to go, which is what I did. It sounds like you did. We went to different events to say, hey, I went to the reception Friday night. This is what's important to me and my folks. Where does this fall in your agenda? So we have opportunities to attend events. They aren't free because they need money for their operations, but it's out there in the public domain. I'm not sure if it's something that, we need to bring forth and say, attend these things, but it's out there. So I think, it's a two-way street, Brother Tate. Maybe if I can help bring some of those events to your attention, because I attend a lot of them, but we should plan to attend the Wild Hog Supper. We should go to that. Have you ever been to that?
I have, the last 2 years. Yes,
I'm
at all of those events.
Then we need more than you and me there. So we need more than the two of us there. And when we go there, we need to have a plan and talking points. Because I'm just like, we can sit and talk and we say, it's great, let's do this. But if you only go to people when you need them, I don't find that to be an effective strategy.
I got you. Thanks a lot, Kimberly.
Okay, thank you. I'll get quiet
I like
now.
to push back.
Okay.
I like to push back. Kimberly's pushing back on what we're doing as a Black community. She's pushing back. I think we're there though, people. I think, you know, when you're a group of people that descend from slavery, that you have all of those issues that I've mentioned on several of the conversations, you generally don't participate in a manner that you should in this political process. And that's because when life generally happens, we're pulled in other directions. A lot of things go on in our community that shouldn't go on. That's why we don't participate in politics the way we are. But we have organizations that are supposed to be representing us. And what I'm telling you is, if we look at the data, we look at the numbers, we look at the history, we look at our experience with public policy. No, at the height of 2020, 2021, the Black Lives Matter movement, we were heavily involved in this political process. We were marching in the streets. What was the outcomes of that? Where are we? The racial wealth gap is still widening. The Black Lives Matter Foundation global network no longer exists. They raised over about $100 million, y'all. $100 million, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So, Janelle, what's going on? Y'all give me some pushback. I want to hear it. I'm pushing back against y'all. I'm pushing back against those organizations that represent us. Go ahead.
And I echo your sentiments, and I just want to encourage y'all that I just read that the online that Georgia's superintendent of schools, Richard Woods, just reversed the decision centered around African American studies, where that material had been pulled from the curriculum. Those things happen when we make these things our lanes. You know, the sentiment of people staying in their lanes needs to be relinquished, because what happens is you only have those people who are voicing an opinion representing you. And if you're not applying that pressure, nothing will get moved. So it's important for us all to raise our voices. For the people who can't go to the events, you raise your voice in whatever way you can do it. If it's sending an email, if it's you communicating to Markee and Kimberly, whomever can go to it, what your platform is, what you represent, you do it that way. If it's you posting something on social media, I saw on VP Kamala Harris's the webpage where it was saying something about posting stuff on social media. Instead of being people who say what we can't do, be empowered to do what you can. And that's what it's all about. And as Black people, we have always been the people who are creative, who are innovative, who can take scraps and make a meal. We have to relinquish this whole mindset of thinking that everything has to be done just by money. Yes, you do need money. We are a capitalistic society, but in the interim, do what you can do until you can do what you want to do. Do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. And know that everybody has a role. And it's when we feel empowered, when we know that there is something we can do, we can unite with the other people and know that it's when all of us come together, we know what we are called to do. We all play a part in all of this. That's when we can shift things. And that's why we have a Black and Indian woman representing the Democratic Party for presidency now. So thank you so much for this, Markee. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate the comments. Hey, there's a election temperature check too. Please take that survey. Raquel just put it on the screen. Thank you, Raquel, for that reminder. I really threw that on the screen. We got in such a conversation here. Abdul Kareem, what's going on? I see your hands raised.
Yeah, thank you so much for this informative conversation. One thing that you said, Markee, is that accountability is key, because accountability without parameters doesn't lead to any level of execution. So that accountability conversation needs to happen. I don't care who doesn't want to hear it. We all need to be held accountable, because if we look at the country with Black face, Black folks are still suffering. And as you stated, we do ethnic politics because yes is a Black person, but no, you're going to be held accountable because I don't see anything coming out of the Black skin in regards to Black politics. That needs to also be part of the conversation. What the sister said before is absolutely pivotal, and it speaks to what the sister said before her. We have to begin to align agendas. Everybody is not going to be on the same page, but what are the patterns and the trends with the goals, the visions, and the missions? And then we can take those things where we have the pattern in the conversation, the alignment in the criticality in regards to what we need to do for Black folk, and then have that as a uniform voice. Yes, we could be separate and unified and still push an agenda with a line.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much for those comments. We got a little fire to you there. Okay, may have struck some nerves. This one of y'all. All right, we have that election temperature survey. We have a few people that have actually, let's see, how would you rate your overall satisfaction? And we're running over just a few minutes, y'all. I know it's 9:01. How would you rate your overall satisfaction with the current presidential candidate? Very satisfied at 20%, satisfied, neutral at 30%, dissatisfied. Can you scroll down, Raquel, to that next question? Let's see.
Can you see it?
I guess I can. Okay. Which candidate do you believe best represents your values and priorities? That is definitely overwhelmingly Vice President Harris. All right, 0% for Donald J. Trump, and I guess it should be. He's got that Project 2025. All right, how confident are you in the ability of your preferred candidate to address the key issues facing the country, economy, healthcare, education? Very confident, 20%, confident 35%, neutral 20%, not confident 15%, not confident at all. That's 10%. Next question, has your confidence in Vice President Kamala Harris changed since the selection of Tim Walz as her running mate? It increased 35%, remained the same, 35%, no impact. And do you have any additional comments? We'll be reading those additional comments. All right, y'all. Just wanted to bring that conversation to you today about identity politics, about negative agenda voting. We got to come around this corner. I understand the excitement several days ago, but we got to come around the corner. Our data demands, our history demands that you come around the corner. There really needs to be a Black agenda, everyone. We have what we're calling a Black candidate. Why shouldn't there be a Black agenda? I know on the last poll, we asked you that question, and I want to say 86% of the respondents, if we're right about that number, that's a high number, said, each candidate should have a Black agenda. So CBC, U.S. Black Chambers, we have our Black business agenda. That's what we're standing behind. We have an Ados Advocacy Foundation agenda. We got a few agendas out there. Is the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign going to address it? Hey, we're about to see. We're at 89, 88 days to the election. There's plenty of times to have that conversation, y'all. No matter what any other community thinks about it, we should have that discussion. We should have that discussion in the open. Let's see what happens, y'all. Thank y'all for coming on to Thursday's Public Policy Talks. Hopefully you had a great time. Hopefully you're feeling a little uncomfortable today. That's what I wanted to make you feel a little uncomfortable, because of our community. When we look at the data numbers, when we look at the wealth, the income, our community is not in that comfortable position. We have never been in that very comfortable position where we can vote on identity politics and vote for a negative agenda. That should be over, y'all. I understand the excitement. That honeymoon time is over. It is time to start talking about the issues to that candidate of your choice. And from what I understand, what I see, the overwhelmingly majority of our community is on the side of the Harris Walz campaign. So it's time to start having those hard discussions. It is time for our national leaders to have those discussions out in the open. and I'm talking about our national organizations. We're there with the Black Print, the U.S. Black Chambers. Thank you, Ron Busby, for putting that out for the last several years. I want to see something come forth from our other organizations. Email those leaders. That's the next steps. I know I talked to a couple of our members about the next steps, but I wanted to have this conversation because of you could go out there and get your head bit off asking about the policies of the vice president. What you talking about? You don't question her. I mean, I've heard that. I saw that on social media. Now, we have to start being about the policy and truly about a Black agenda. Again, 4 Black agendas I've showed on this show. From those that I mentioned, look at those Black agendas. Those are your talking points, everyone. Thank you, Kimberly King, for pushing the conversation. Thank you for giving me pushback. We definitely have to show up, y'all. We got to show out when we show up. Thank y'all for coming on. The time is 9:06. Thank y'all for hanging out with me for a few extra minutes. You have a wonderful and great day. For the ones who are going to be at the Black Business Summit at the perimeter area, the King and Queen buildings, look forward to seeing you. I'll be heading out that way shortly. Thank y'all for coming in. Y'all have a great and prosperous rest of the day, a wonderful weekend, and get more involved in public policy. Let's move away from those identity politics. We know where we are now. It's time to move the conversation forward to talk about public policy.
All right. For those of you who are hanging out, the 3 comments that are in the poll are, I think we need to wait to see what agenda is going to be pushed before we can have a discussion about the agenda. Second comment, what is a good roadmap to introduce graduating seniors to public policy? And third comment, it really does not matter. We must have our own Black agenda. And thank you for capitalizing the B in Black. They capitalized that W, so we need to capitalize our B. Thank you.
All right. And just looking over the comments. Hey, thank y'all. The officials part is over. But I think with Tracy Green, what does a Black agenda look like? Go to those websites. Go to the U.S. Black Print, usblackchambers.org. Look at the Black Print. Go to the Ados Advocacy Foundation for a very, very robust Black agenda. Go to the Black Economic Alliance. Black Economic Alliance. They have a report out, which is similar to a Black agenda. All right, good discussion. Let's see if there's any. Tavis Smiley. Who is that? Lauren Carter. Tavis Smiley had one for several years. Was printed in book form. That is, I want to say you're talking about the Covenant with Black America, I think, Lauren. Senator Ossoff team is coming to the Old National this morning at 10 a.m. Let's see. Somebody said, get it right. Who does that say? Janelle said, get it right. Biden is not on the ticket. I know, Janelle. All right, let's see. We should absolutely have it. All right, y'all.
Hey, Markee.
Yes.
This is Andrea. I'm at the U.S. Bank meeting. Michael Hill said, you guys get over here.
All right, we're headed there, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. Powerhouse Pest Control. All right. All right, I'm headed that way. All right, y'all. It is still 40-some people on here. Y'all don't want to go. I definitely understand. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. It's time. This is the election season. Check out those local elections also. All right, y'all.
Thank you, Raquel. Do we have to sign up or can we just come?
What is that? That is for the event going on right now?
Yes.
It was a sign-up event, but I want to say you can go.
Markee.
Yes. Yes.
Anybody that wants to go out to the event today at the King and Queen building, or was it 2 Concourse Parkway? Please come out. Please come out because we want a good showing. So if you have the time, I'm on my way right now.
All right.
Thank you.
How long is that event this morning? Does anyone know?
That event goes until at least 2 o'clock.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock until
like
2 o'clock, and that is in the chat. Let's see. Y'all scroll through that. I'm going to stay on this.
I don't see it.
It's there. If you scroll up, it's there. I'm trying to repost it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, y'all. Good conversation. Paula, you up early this morning. We had a long night. Paula.
Yes, we
See.
did.
Yes.
Good work, though. Good work.
Dr. Calvin Ellison, I see you out there. Thank you for coming out, VP of Community Affairs for the Atlanta Black Chambers. Matthew Coleman, what's going on? All right,
Thank
y'all.
you, Raquel. I got it.
You're welcome.
Shirley, great. Hey, I'm gonna hold it off just a few moments so y'all can get the information from the chat. If you can't save that chat, please save the chat. Let's hold on for just a few minutes, Raquel.
Hey, Matthew.
Christina's hand is up. We're in overtime, y'all.
Yes, this is Christina Cheek from the Southern Georgia Black Chambers. I'm listening in from Valdosta.
All right.
And I love y'all show. I listen in all the time. Could I re-listen to the show on y'all's, like, how do I find the recording of this session?
The calls are, the recordings are on our YouTube page, but they're also placed on our Facebook and our LinkedIn page about 48 hours after the actual presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Katrina. Tell Dwayne I said hello. I'll be in y'all's area Monday. I'm going to hit Dwayne up. All right.
If I'm going to be
Okay.
recorded, I better be nice to the Markee then. I guess I better stop asking him all these questions.
No, hey, Kimberly, hey, give me
Oh,
some
I'm just
pushback.
joking. Melvin knows
No.
me. I'm going to be me. Yeah.
Yeah, hey,
Keep bringing that fire, sis.
Right.
oh, yeah. Push us. We need that pushback, Kimberly. Thank you for those comments. I like it. Oh, yeah. I was expecting some pushback today, y'all. I'm pushing y'all. I should get some pushback. All right. Identity politics.
Yeah, we need to
Get
take
something.
Coleman a ballot to vote on.
All right, Shirley.
Yeah. But and Markee, I know we can't always get into it here, but I mean, like, you know, to your point earlier about the whether it's the African American AP curricula or several folks did come together, because it also impacts a lot of African American teachers who received about $50,000 in training to teach the class. I didn't know that. One of the legislators told me they had a session yesterday, and the what's happening with the Secretary of State's, well, the State Election Board, two different entities, that if some of the rules that they're proposing could throw the certification process into chaos.
Yeah.
So we just need to watch and monitor these things. But whatever I can do to help, or, you know, I'll send you an email if I hear about events, so you as the leader of this group can share them with everybody.
All right. Thank you, Kimberly. All right. I see your text, Melvin. Please get Joe Biden out of your mouth. That's the pass. I hear you, Melvin. If you're still on there. All right. I know I got to do that.
Harris Walls.
All right.
All right,
I'm
we're going to
getting
end
there.
it. Or no.
I'm getting there. A few more minutes, Raquel. Make sure everybody's getting everything out from the chat. Let's see. We still have, 18 people on.
Hey, Markee, how you doing?
Okay, have a good day. Okay,
Venus, what's going on?
Hello. There was something that popped up. Was there like a drive share or something like that from Joshua Williams? And I saw it as it was leaving the screen. Do you all have like a shared file or something that you all are working from where you post information?
No, we don't. Raquel, do you see that? And what was the name? Because I'm scrolling.
It was Joshua Williams, and it was something. It was almost like a drive share. I tried to inbox him, but I didn't hear anything back, and I was just wondering. Hey, Raquel.
Hey, Venus. Good to see you. Good to hear your voice.
Hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, Venus, I don't see anything in there.
Okay.
Raquel, you got everybody.
If I did share anything, I apologize. I probably did that by mistake. I don't recall sharing anything. So.
Okay, because it popped up
Joshua.
like a box
But
that
if y'all
said
find
join something. Yeah, it said join something, and then when I saw it, it was just leaving the screen. So
okay. Well, if y'all find something, let me know what it is, because I don't even know what that might be.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Josh. Appreciate it.
Well,
Thanks, Venus.
Well, you all be safe. Good to see you.
All
Thank you
right.
for the information. You know, when I hear racial wealth gap, you know, I'm working on that from another angle as far as making sure that people have a solid financial foundation. So
all right.
Yeah.
Great, Venus. Thanks.
All right.
Keep
Have a good day.
Venus. All right.
Say something.